From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 9th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,337 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $627. Antiwar.com reports rescue workers are continuing to sift through the rubble of a 3-story apartment building in the Yemeni capital city of Sana'a, which was the latest target in a Saudi air war which has caused substantial civilian casualties throughout, fueling international criticism. This latest strike killed at least 9 civilians, including 4 children, while 5 other civilians who were within were wounded. It is unclear if this is all of the casualties, as all indications are that the workers are still trying to comb through the wreckage. Saudi officials did not comment directly on the issue, but did say they are checking the report. This is unusual in itself, as generally Saudi officials offer blanket denials when their airstrikes hit obvious civilian targets. It is unlikely, however, that any official Saudi report will ever be made public. Sana'a has long been the ultimate goal of the Saudi invasion of Yemen, though by and large they've been unsuccessful in approaching it on the ground. Still, throughout the war, those airstrikes have done massive damage to the city, particularly to residential neighborhoods. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. UPI reports just 2 years ago, cannabis lobbyist Michael Collins was a pariah on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers would not meet with him. Not anymore. Collins, the deputy director of national affairs at the Drug Policy Alliance, said, "I've got offices reaching out to me. It's definitely a big change." Cannabis-related legislation was on a fast track to nowhere until 2014. That was the year Republicans and Democrats alike approved a measure that kept federal authorities from interfering in states that allow cannabis use for medical purposes. Since then, both houses of Congress have seen a flood of similar proposals. Lobbyists, policy experts, and lawmakers who spoke to roll call said the trajectory is clear. Congress is leaning towards decriminalizing cannabis at the federal level, and it's going to happen soon. That could happen as early as the next Congress, or it could be within the next 10 years. Kevin Sabet, a drug policy advisor in 3 presidential administrations, including Barack Obama's, said reform advocates have worked for decades to create the sense that legalization is inevitable. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports North Dakota's governor activated 100 National Guard troops on Thursday ahead of an expected ruling by a federal judge on a Native American tribe's request to halt construction of a crude oil pipeline that has drawn fierce opposition and protest. The $3.7 billion 1,100-mile Dakota Access Pipeline would carry oil from just north of land owned by the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in North Dakota to Illinois, where it would hook up to an existing pipeline and route crude directly to refineries in the U.S. Gulf Coast. The project has sparked violent clashes between security officers near the construction site and tribe members and other protesters. Opponents say the project will damage burial sites considered sacred to the tribe and pollute the area's drinking water. In a hearing in federal court in Washington, D.C. earlier this week, U.S. Judge James Boasberg granted in part and denied in part the tribe's request for a temporary restraining order to stop the project, and said he would decide by Friday whether to grant the larger challenge to the pipeline, which would require the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to withdraw permits. In advance of that decision, Governor Jack Dalrymple ordered National Guard troops to the area from bases in Bismarck and 2 other cities. Guard spokeswoman Amber Balkin said some 24 troops will help with security at traffic checkpoints, the closest of which is about 30 miles from the protest site. 100 troops in all are ready to aid local law enforcement should the protest become violent. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.